Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload, you could see we'll be talking about a potentially dangerous winter storm, and I am calling this now dangerous because the snow is being overproduced. We have some ice storm warnings being issued, and as well as the severe weather side is acting up quite significantly. But there is a tornado watch across much of northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, a severe thunderstorm warning area for many locations, and a severe thunderstorm watch. So a lot of stuff is going on, and I'll be covering all of this in today's video. If you guys do perhaps like what you're seeing at any time throughout this video, check out my other videos and see if it's worthy of a subscription. And if you are a returning viewer, liking the video would be fantastic. Otherwise, let's get into this. So I will first go over the severe weather aspect of this, since that is a bit more imminent, right? And then afterwards I will talk about the snow. So if you're just here to watch the snow, you can scroll forward in the video and skip ahead to those parts. Let's start talking. Let's start looking at the National Weather Service map. Notice we have severe thunderstorm warnings in orange and yellow. That's a tornado watch. So again, a tornado watch isn't a warning. It's just saying that the potential for tornadoes is there, but not necessarily imminent. And notice that we do have a line of severe thunderstorm warnings, mainly wind with this. Hail for sure a possibility, but mainly the strong, very strong winds are associated with this. And notice that if we were to look at the radar, for example, we have a pretty strong line of thunderstorms. Whether or not this weekend is a bit of a question. It seems to be holding its strength pretty darn well, but again, notice it goes through kind of phases here, a stronger, a bit weaker, so we'll see. Hopefully it weakens as it reaches the more populated metropolitan area of Chicago, but definitely some rain and some gusty winds likely. And to be honest, I don't really want these storms. I do want rain though, aside from that wind. I don't really want the wind or any aspect of severity. I just really want that rain. It's been so dry. And for my new composting techniques, I need the leaves to be really wet, and it'll be such a pain if I have to do that hand watering it. So the potential is there if you live across northern Illinois. I'm recording this as of 4:19 Central Standard Time, but you may be watching this around 5 o'clock or 6. Again, this thing will be on the move, and you may be watching this when it's already over with, but it may be moving into Indiana, Michigan, and again, the cold air behind this will also be quite a big of a shock, as many locations will be seeing 30 to 40 degrees in temperature change just overnight. And this, in terms of the radar, let's look at one that maybe more people are familiar with. This is the WGN radar. It's a radar I use. It's from my local weather station, or it's from Chicago, a local news station. It's a very good source, and you can see that they have that, obviously, that line portrayed. It has definitely gotten smaller in radius, but again, I mean, really the intense colors are there. Wherever this line kind of bows out, probably the strongest winds and biggest severe potential. So this is imminent and will be racing across into northern Illinois. Notice that lots of Wisconsin as well. Maybe not seeing as much severe weather, but heavy rain with this. Now let's focus on to the snowy side of this. So let's take a look at the layers and take off these winter warnings so we could see what's going on. I don't live in Minneapolis, so I don't know. As of right now, the current conditions we're reporting still some light freezing rain. I'm assuming at this point it has mainly shifted over into snow. And again, as I mentioned, this whole system is a bit overperforming already. We have over 8-inch amounts across Nebraska and South Dakota. So definitely we could see some of that continuation into Minnesota and Wisconsin. Again, as I mentioned, I think there will be a few amounts in very isolated areas, not widespread, but a few locations that will see up to a foot of snow. Now notice that this thing is relatively on track. It has lots of moisture with it. And this is its track through. You could see 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock right there. For the past several hours, what it's done. Minneapolis was kind of between a rain-snow mix. Further north was more snow. Further south was sleet, freezing rain. And then notice that obviously that line of severe storms formed to the south. Overall, this system isn't huge. It's pretty small. I wouldn't say it's tiny, but it's smaller, on the smaller side, but it's really compact and intense and dangerous because of that results. You know, the same thing with hurricanes. Hurricanes can, if they're smaller, intensify a bit quicker. Low pressures can do the same thing and be a bit more unpredictable, easier to change their track. And notice that we have a lot of snow across Sioux City into southwestern Minnesota, and this is all now moving into Minneapolis, St. Cloud. If I were to say one thing, is that there has been a slight shift to the north with this storm track. So if you live in Duluth, St. Cloud, if I were to look at the National Weather Service, you would notice that a lot of those locations are kind of on the cusp of seeing a winter storm warning. I think you will be seeing heavy snow across St. Cloud, possibly even more than across Minneapolis and St. Paul, because it's just the orientation of that storm looks like that as of now. This is our official forecast. You can see it's definitely shifted a bit further to the north. It was earlier more centered towards Hayward, Ashland, and Twin Cities. Don't worry, you'll still see snow 4 to 6, right? But just most likely, not the heaviest of the snow. 6 to 8 across northern, central, eastern Montana. Central eastern Minnesota, and then by Duluth, kind of the Arrowhead also. Again, I think I'm fully expecting some of these amounts to go into the 8 to maybe even 12 inches. As we saw across the snowfall report map, notice this is, you saw those pop up. Those were just new reports that came in relatively recently. Notice that the highest amount is 8.5 inches, which is right there in Nebraska. Sioux Falls, though, 4 miles west-southwest, and 7 inches as of 4 p.m., so 25 minutes ago. And if you were to look at the radar, they're still getting maybe an additional inch or two, so definitely a bit more than expected across those locations. But again, still not a huge snowstorm, but it's November 10th. It's always a bit of a shock to see that first one. Let's take a look at the HRR model, their HRR, the simulated future radar, and I want to take this to the most recent update. So this is as of, I think, 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. Notice this is what we have. Again, the HRR model usually does best with like the overall track and timing, but with see this line of storms, it has it way more disorganized than it is right now, so it's fair to assume that what it forecasts in the future may not be as accurate as we would like. But notice that it actually shows some signs of intensifying. It keeps this line well into the metropolitan area of Chicago and into Peoria, Urbana, Champaign, Milwaukee, Green Bay, maybe seeing just their heavy rain out of this, not necessarily an organized severe weather threat, which is definitely the best of news. Notice, even as this crosses the Lake Michigan, this thing across into Michigan, the state, and into Indiana, we could still be seeing some strong winds, powerful wind gusts, and some heavy rain. And obviously, as this pushes further and further east, we see more scattered showers and rain occur, but not really organized anymore. In terms of the snow and the wintry side, notice a lot of mixing, and it jumps around quite a bit. Wherever this sets up exactly is a bit hard to tell, but again, there has been a shift a bit further towards the north and northwest. And if you were to look at this, count the hours down, Sioux Falls are seeing 7.5 inches on the ground right now. They could still see additional 1 to 3 inches of some moderate snow. Again, the last hour, most likely some lighter snow. Twin Cities, if you're seeing snow already, then this graphic may not be accurate, but it shows you starting to see snow at around the 7 o'clock, and by then you'll definitely be seeing already probably a couple of inches in some areas. As I looked at just north of Minnesota, they're already reporting snow. It's just kind of the southern suburbs. And then again, the thing is with this thing, it's very, very heavy snow, right? It'll be falling quickly, heavily, but it will be short, right? It won't be a long-term thing preventing this from being a blockbuster system. But notice it moves into the Arrowhead, into Minnesota, northern Minnesota, into northwestern Wisconsin, and extreme portions of western upper peninsula of Michigan. So for all my Canadians that live across just north of Lake Superior, especially the western side, I do apologize if there's a bit of stomping you can hear upstairs. I am in a basement, so that is pretty audible at times. And notice that in southern Canada also the snow could break out. Some moderate snowfall intensities, though again this system seems to kind of fall apart as it pushes into Canada. And in terms of snowfall, according to the HRR model, which it's done an okay job, right? Initially it looked to be a bit more promising, but it has underdone some of these snowfall accumulations. It's showing a widespread 5 to 6 event. I think there will be more. than 5 to 6 inches. You could see paints around 2 to 3 inches more across the Sioux Falls area, Sioux City, more like 1 to 2. So definitely a 9-inch amount won't be out of the question over there. And again, in terms of the precipitation, especially with that line of storms, some of these locations may be, sorry about that, I wanted to go to total accumulated precip. Some of these locations are definitely underrepresented because, with these thunderstorms, if it's, thankfully they're not going to be occurring over the same area because it's so quick moving, but it's so powerful that easily an inch of rain could be dumped within a few, 20 to 30 minutes. And that will lead to flooding regardless of how wet it is. Thankfully it's not wet, it's dry, but at the same time that might not do much favor, especially since the soil is already kind of dry, cracked, doesn't absorb it easily, and of course with all the leaves and all the all the sewers and sorts, it's just going to get clogged. So definitely not good news with these thunderstorms. And leaves are definitely a bad thing for flooding, as they always clog the drainage holes, and it just happens every year. But this is what the rain looks like, especially high amounts across the eastern UP of Michigan. But generally scattered and isolated with the higher amounts, but overall it's still a good rain soaker. Let's take a look at the GFS model and see what it shows. You can see the GFS shows a bit more of a widespread event. Typically what global models do in terms of total snowfall. Let's just look at total snowfall. You can see it paints a few amounts in the Minnesota area, seeing 4 to 5 inches, though a good portion of the northwestern or northern area of Wisconsin where it meets Lake Superior, seeing again 7 to 6 inches, maybe even some 8 inches of snow across some of these locations. Again, the GFS is still kind of taking this a bit further to the south, rather than what the National Weather Service is now agreeing with. In terms of the Canadian model, this is a few hours old. You can see definitely showing a lot over there, and maybe just a bit less across these locations, which is possible. But it doesn't look like as if this storm is weakening by any means. So I think quite a bit of snow could still be falling. I think this is underrepresented again. Looking at the higher resolution models like the NAM 3KM, this one looks the most accurate, to be honest. I don't think there will be this much snow this far to the south because of that ice. It often calculates the ice in as snowfall. You can see right there. But these northern locations, Duluth, St. Cloud, 7, 5, 6, 8 inches of snow is definitely likely, if not possible, or possible, if not likely. The NAM 12KM does show similar amounts, just a bit more faded. It's not a high resolution as the NAM 3KM is. And that is, the NAM 32KM doesn't show total snowfall. I could show you the RGEM model. This is a pretty good model as well. Often, or you can see right there, this upcoming Thursday, we could have a little bit of snow there. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's take a look at what it shows up until... what it shows with this system. Notice quite some heavy snow obviously occurring and really peaking across that northern Wisconsin area, which some models are showing, others aren't, so we'll have to see whether or not that holds true. And again, widespread 4 to 5 inch amounts, again, maybe a bit underrepresented. If we were to take a look at one more model, the HRDPS, this is a high resolution model as well. You can see more widespread and a larger area and way farther to the north with those heavy snow amounts. But no real isolated, pockets of heavy snow. They do have it right by the lake right there, but that's really not too significant. And again, for timing, for details, go to the National Weather Service. They will have a much more detailed timing. Again, if you live across Minnesota, it's most likely already snowing, and if it isn't, it probably will within the next few hours, 1 to 2 hours. Obviously, the further north you live, the later the onset will be. But again, as I already showed you with the total snowfall prediction, it's looking pretty heavy for some of northwestern Wisconsin, extreme northwestern Wisconsin, and eastern Minnesota. Now, if we were to take a look at the radar, you can see that this is a bit disorganized, right? But we do have some of this banding, like right there, that's snow, and that's some yellow shading of indicating some pretty intense radar returns, so some heavy snow is definitely occurring across those locations. But further back here, it's more of a solid snow, colder snow, higher ratios. And if you were to examine this further, you can see that this thing's kind of spinning away, but definitely on the move, and still slightly snowing across northwestern Iowa into Nebraska. So definitely a decent event of snow occurred across many locations and will occur for a few more. And again, this is the updated radar. I'm just looking at this, constantly monitoring it, because I probably will be, my county will be probably under a severe thunderstorm warning soon. So hopefully nothing happens bad. And if it does, well then, that's life. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't stress out too much. Again, weather is often overhyped and it is over exaggerated, right? So while yes, this is a danger, don't go don't go manically panicking, as just staying in lower elevations of your household will most likely be good enough for this event. No widespread tornadoes, really. There's a tornado watch, right? There are a few tornado warnings, but it's not a widespread event. I said it at the beginning, that widespread tornado event. There's a tornado watch, not a widespread tornado event. Tornado watch is just saying potential for tornadoes is there, but how many? That's, always a question. In this case, it doesn't look too awfully conducive for tornadoes, but overall, a impressive storm, an impressive system, and hopefully you guys really stay safe. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.